A very warm welcome to Only IAS. In our PSIR Daily Answer Writing Initiative, today we have arrived at day 39. Let us see which is the segment of syllabus that we have to cover today. So, in 2A of your syllabus, we have a segment Key Concepts in International Relations. It involves national interest, security, power, balance of power, deterrence. So these are very important topics, and every year we have questions from one or two of these topics. So it is an important segment of 2A. Now let us see what questions we have today from this segment. And I hope कि आप सबने जो 2 क्वेश्चंस दिए थे वो लिख लिए होंगे, उनके आंसर्स आपने लिखे होंगे और आपने क्या अप्रोच फॉलो करी वो आप कंपेयर कर सकते हैं इस वीडियो से. So without wasting any time further, let us begin. पहला सवाल है, how has the emergence of the concept of soft power in the foreign policy arena changed the power ideology? What is its relevance in contemporary world politics? So we see that there are 2 questions in this question itself, and it is a 15-mark question. So here in the first question, it is saying, in the first part of the question, it has asked, how has the emergence of the concept of soft power in the foreign policy arena changed the power ideology? So, ये मान चुके हैं कि there is emergence of a concept of soft power. ठीक है, this is not contested. इस पर सवाल नहीं है कि सॉफ्ट पावर है या नहीं है. ये इस्टेब्लिश्ड है कि सॉफ्ट पावर का कंसेप्ट इमर्ज हो चुका है. अब ये जो इमर्जेंस है, इसने फॉरेन पॉलिसी एरेना में पावर आइडियोलॉजी की जो कंसेप्शन है, पावर आइडियोलॉजी की जो कैलकुलेशंस हैं, उसको कैसे चेंज किया है. नाउ दिस इज द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. एज आई ऑलवेज से, जब भी आपको क्वेश्चन की एसेंस समझनी हो, आपको क्वेश्चन का क्रक्स समझना हो, आपको उसका थीम समझना हो, तो सबसे पहले आपको कीवर्ड्स उठाने हैं क्वेश्चन में और उसे ब्रेक करना है फर्दर सब पार्ट्स में. तो यहाँ पे हमें 2 सब पार्ट्स नजर आ रहे हैं क्वेश्चन के. पहला वो पूछ रहा है कि जो एमरजेंस हुआ है सॉफ्ट पावर के कंसेप्ट का, उसने पावर आइडियोलॉजी को कैसे चेंज किया है. दूसरा ये है कि इस सॉफ्ट पावर की आज की कंटेम्प्रेरी वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स में क्या रेलेवेंस है. अब यहाँ पर एक ही बड़ा कीवर्ड उठ के आ रहा है, वो है सॉफ्ट पावर. पहले पूछा गया है कि सॉफ्ट पावर के इमरजेंस ने क्या इम्पैक्ट किया है और फिर कहा जा रहा है कि इसकी रेलेवेंस क्या है. So now let us see how we should approach this particular question. Coming to the intro, we have identified a keyword here. Now what is the keyword? Keyword is soft power. So you have to define soft power. Soft power. Now quickly define the soft power in the introduction and then you can move towards the body of the answer. So how do you define soft power? Soft power is a form of power which is not hard. Right. So one is the different. Usually जब हम foreign relations देखते हैं, जब हम IR पढ़ते हैं, तो हम हार्ड पावर की बात कर रहे होते हैं. ट्रेडिशनल जो पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी है, जो पावर आइडियोलॉजी है, वो हार्ड पावर की बात करती है. उसमें क्या होता है, मिलिट्री पावर होती है, इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेंथ होती है. ये सब हम देखते हैं कि किस कंट्री के पास कितने वेपन्स हैं, कितने हार्ड आर्सेनल्स हैं, कितनी मिलिट्री स्ट्रेंथ है, उसकी इकोनॉमिक माइट कैसी है. ये सब होती है हार्ड पावर. तो जो पावर इस कैटेगरी में नहीं फॉल करती वो सॉफ्ट पावर है. ऑल्सो दिस कंसेप्ट वाज गिवन बाय जोसेफ नाई. तो जो पोस्ट कोल्ड वॉर एरा है उसमें सॉफ्ट पावर की करेंसी ज्यादा बढ़ी है, उसमें सॉफ्ट पावर का कंसेप्ट ज्यादा इमर्ज हुआ है. ये बोला जा रहा है ना कि इमरजेंस है, एवरलास्टिंग नहीं था, हमेशा से नहीं था सॉफ्ट पावर इतना प्रिविलेंट फॉरेन पॉलिसी में. जो ट्रेडिशनल फॉरेन पॉलिसी है वो सॉफ्ट पावर को इतना इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देती है. इसकी इमरजेंस हुई है और इमरजेंस का क्रेडिट जाता है जोसेफ नाई को, हु ब्रॉट इन दिस आइडिया इन द पोस्ट कोल्ड वॉर एरा, आफ्टर द कोल्ड वॉर. एंड सो सॉफ्ट पावर इन्वॉल्व्स एन अपील. it involves attraction, it involves persuasion. So any kind of power which is used in foreign relations, which has the connotations of appeal, attraction, persuasion, that is called soft power. Right. Now let us this is how we introduce this answer. हमने सबसे पहले एक कीवर्ड पकड़ा यहाँ पर, उस कीवर्ड को इंट्रोड्यूस किया, उसके बारे में बताया कि वो सारी पावर जो हार्ड पावर नहीं है वो सॉफ्ट पावर की कैटेगरी में फॉल करेगी। इसके साथ अपील, अट्रैक्शन और परसुएशन इन्वॉल्व है। जोसेफ नाइन ने ये कंसेप्ट दिया और पोस्ट कोल्ड वॉर एरा में इसकी इमरजेंस हुई। अब चलते हैं आगे। लेट अस सी कि इस आंसर की बॉडी में हम क्या लिखेंगे, जो मेन बॉडी होगी आंसर की, वहां पर क्या लिखा जाएगा। तो जब इन्होंने आपसे, अब सॉफ्ट पावर के बारे में आप तब तक कंप्लीटली नहीं लिख सकते हो जब तक आप हार्ड पावर को एक्सप्लेन ना करो। हार्ड पावर क्या होती है उसकी हल्की सी अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिखाकर देन वी विल मूव टू सॉफ्ट पावर। तो हार्ड पावर के बारे में जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला, ये इकोनॉमिक पावर है, मिलिट्री माइट है, और it comes with some elements of coercion, some elements of force, some elements of sanction, elements of threat. ये सब चीजें हैं हार्ड पावर के साथ एसोसिएटेड। इसको हार्ड पावर बोलने का रीजन ये भी है कि ये क्वांटिफिएबल है, मतलब कि आप इसको इसकी क्वांटिटी को मेजर कर सकते हैं। आप जान सकते हैं कि किस कंट्री के कितनी हार्ड पावर है। यूएस के पास इतने वेपन्स हैं, तो ये उसकी हार्ड पावर का एक एलिमेंट है। किस कंट्री के पास कितनी इकोनॉमिक माइट है, ये उसकी हार्ड पावर का एक एलिमेंट है। आर्सेनल्स कितने हैं, आर्मी माइट कैसी है, नेवल स्ट्रेंथ कैसी है, ये सब चीजें कैलकुलेट की जा सकती हैं, ये सब चीजें क्वांटिटी में आ सकती हैं, तो इट इज क्वांटिफिएबल। द हार्ड पावर इज क्वांटिफिएबल। So this is how we define, and then there are elements of coercion, force, sanctions and threat. जैसे in stark contrast to soft power, जहां पर जो elements हैं वो है persuasion, attraction, appeal. Now why I am repeating all these words again and again? Because these are those keywords which an examiner, which an evaluator wants to see in your answer. And the moment he sees कि ये क्वेश्चन लिखे गए, ये वर्ड्स लिखे हैं कैंडिडेट ने, सो अ वेरी गुड इंप्रेशन गेट्स क्रिएटेड। आफ्टर सो से हमने हमेशा ये कोशिश करनी है कि जो कीवर्ड दिया गया है उस कीवर्ड को तो लिखना ही है, उसको तो एक्सप्लेन करना ही है। हमेशा एक अपर कंटेक्स्ट देखना है, एक बिगर लार्जर पिक्चर देखनी है, ऊपर से उठकर देखना है। सॉफ्ट पावर पूछा है तो हल्का सा हार्ड पावर के बारे में बताइए, उसको आप कॉन्ट्रास्ट लाइए, क्योंकि सॉफ्ट पावर हैज इमर्ज्ड एज एन ऑल्टरनेट टू हार्ड पावर, और लेट्स से इन ओपोजिशन टू हार्ड पावर का कंसेप्ट। सो इट इज वेरी नेसेसरी कि आप हल्की सी हार्ड पावर के बारे में भी अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिखाएं इस मेन बॉडी में। Now moving to, this is how we are attempting the first sub part of this question. Right. Now let us see a bit about soft power. तो soft power के बारे में वही है कि इसमें persuasion involved है, प्लस ये intangible है. You cannot touch it. You cannot, it cannot be quantified. आप नहीं बता सकते हैं कि किसकी soft power कितनी है. There is no quantity, right? And how soft power what is the spread of soft power? It is through culture, it is through ideology. For example, इंडिया में अगर हम देखें, इंडिया की सॉफ्ट पावर क्या है, जो हमारा आइडिया है कि the entire world is one family, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, it is what? It is soft power. Then when we are promoting yoga, what is it? It is soft power. When we are promoting Indian cuisine, it is soft power. When Afghanistan people say that they watch Indian movies, it is soft power. When Russians say that they listen to Indian Bollywood songs, what is it? It is soft power. Nothing but soft power. And also in recent times, vaccine maitri. So this is how our soft power gets spread across the world. These are examples from an Indian point of view. You can quote examples from USA's, like these companies, the USA culture, jeans, and the fast food. Similarly, the Chinese culture, the Chinese fast food, it has entered Indian market like anything. And anywhere, sitting anywhere in the world, you can have a taste of Chinese cuisine, a taste of USA's cuisine. So these are ideas of soft power, that it is intangible, you cannot touch it, you cannot calculate it, but it is pervasive. Right. Now, we move towards what is required. So we have seen that soft power is there and hard power is there, but then soft power comes with certain limitations. One, it takes very long time for soft power to exhibit itself. Soft power, it takes a lot of time. Hard power is direct. You can acquire weapons, you can grow economically, and your hard power is evident. But for soft power to become evident, it takes lot many years, lot many time. So when we are looking, see, we are not idealists here. We are not looking from a prism of idealism. We are looking from a prism of uh, practical, prudent foreign policy. When we are making a foreign policy for the country, what should be there? It should be based on hard power or soft power. Both are required. There will be moments when your hard power will matter most, and it is through hard power that at times your soft power also gains currency. So both of these are required, and that is why countries go for acquiring the nuclear might, go for acquiring the military might, and simultaneously they are working on the cultural aspects also. So most of the countries, the powers around the world, are going for acquiring both of these, the soft power and the hard power. Now, when the question, the second part of the question has asked what is the contemporary relevance of soft power, क्या रेलेवेंस है आज के डेट में, जो वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर है, जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम्स हैं, उसमें क्या रेलेवेंस है। तो हमने वही बताया है कि अपनी इमेज परसेप्शन के लिए हम सॉफ्ट पावर का यूज कर रहे हैं. ऑलमोस्ट ऑल कंट्रीज दे आर गोइंग फॉर बोथ अ बैलेंस ऑफ सॉफ्ट पावर and hard power. Hard power is very necessary because when there is an immediate attack, when there is immediate threat, so you cannot counter it by soft power. For moments when a country needs to be offensive, it needs hard power. There has to be good enough military strength, good enough economic might, but then we cannot do without soft power also. So the examples that I've quoted, India's vaccine mastery, then Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam concept, the Yoga Day celebrations, the Indian cuisine all around the world. So these are examples how we are building on our soft power. So we have this cultural diplomacy and we have traditional diplomacy. So traditional diplomacy would always favor hard power. It would say just go on building your hard power. But the cultural diplomacy has also emerged, and it is saying that along with hard power, the soft power should also be built. And similar idea is held by Joseph Nye, who says that though I'm introducing this idea of soft power, it is very necessary that countries should create a balance between the both hard power and soft power. So this is how we have attempted this question. So the question before us was how has the emergence of concept of soft power in foreign policy arena changed the power ideology? So it has changed in the way that countries are thinking of balancing both of these powers, and what is its relevance that we have already discussed. So both parts of the questions systematically we arrived at. In the introduction, we defined the keyword, and then in the main body we took a larger context. We did talk about hard power, and then we did not restrict ourselves to soft power alone. In this answer, there was a fine balance between hard power and soft power. We have explained the two. We have briefly talked about the limitations of the two, and then we have concluded that a strong foreign policy needs a fine balance of the two. Now let us move towards our second question for the day. So beginning with the second question, it says, after Ukraine crisis, so we all know what do they mean by Ukraine crisis? The Russia-Ukraine war, right? The Russia-Ukraine war. They are referring to this war. Now, do you still believe that deterrence as a tool of international politics remains relevant in safeguarding one's country's national interest? So, this question is basically about the relevance of relevance of deterrence. So for that, we need to understand what deterrence means. And I hope you have written the answer, you have studied the topic still. I'll help you explain what deterrence is. So what is the keyword in this question? The keyword evidently is deterrence, and now we see that it is a 20 marker. Okay, so we need to elaborately explain the concept of deterrence. So this question, दो ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये एक ही चीज पूछ रहा है कि यूक्रेन क्राइसिस में डेटरेंस को देखकर जो सिचुएशन हुई, क्या आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये आज भी रेलेवेंट है या नहीं? ठीक है, एक ही सवाल लग रहा है, बट इसमें दो चीजें हैं इस क्वेश्चन में। एक तो वो पूछना चाह रहा है कि आपके डेटरेंस के बारे में अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है, व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय डेटरेंस, राइट। और दूसरा वो ये पूछ रहा है कि इस प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट में, रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर के कंटेक्स्ट में बताइए कि क्या इसकी रेलेवेंस है या नहीं है। One, show the understanding about the word deterrence, and second, its relevance. Let us move. Let us see what has to be written in intro, and intro becomes really easy when you get a keyword in your question. So when if there is a question जिसने सिर्फ analysis बोला है और आप कोई एक पर्टिकुलर कीवर्ड नहीं आइडेंटिफाई कर पा रहे हैं, तो वहां पर आपको एक लार्जर कंटेक्स्ट उठाना है कि ये किस संदर्भ में पूछा गया है ये सवाल। सो यू कैन बिगिन योर इंट्रो ऑन दोज टर्म्स। यहाँ पे हमें साफ साफ से एक कीवर्ड नजर आया है और उसका नाम है डेटरेंस। सो वी विल बी एक्सप्लेनिंग व्हाट डज डेटरेंस मीन। डेटरेंस का मतलब होता है कि आप let's say there are two countries, A and B, right? And A is in possession, A and B are adversaries. They are hostile to each other. They do not get well along. They are enemy countries. Now A is in possession of certain weapons, let's say nuclear weapons, which can cause massive destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. It can cause mass destruction, these weapons. Now, B is also a nuclear weapon state. It is also having nuclear weapons. Do you think B will, B being a rational, both of these are rational actors, which means that they understand the losses, they understand the cost of a war. These are rational actors. They use rationality. Now, do you think B will ever attack A? B will dare to attack A? B won't. B itself is a superpower. It is having nuclear weapons, but it will not attack A because it knows that A is also in possession of certain weapons. And if A will retaliate, the retaliation will be massive. And then there will be loss at this side also, and the loss will be heavy loss. So when there is this calculation, this presumption of loss, so the potential aggressor, B here was a potential aggressor for A. There were chances, ऐसा था, ऐसी सिचुएशन थी, ऐसे रिलेशंस थे दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में कि बी कभी भी वॉर कर देता ये पर बी नहीं करेगा। ये बी पोटेंशियल एग्रेसर जरूर है, ये एडवर्सरी जरूर है, पर ये रुक जाता है, ये डेटर हो जाता है। क्यों डेटर हो जाता है ये? क्योंकि इसको मालूम है ए के पास भी उतने ही वेपन्स हैं, ए भी हम पर अटैक कर सकता है और जो हमारा लॉस होगा वो कहीं ज्यादा होगा, हमारा भी लॉस होगा। तो when these rational actors are there and they understand that it is not wise to attack another country, this is known as deterrence. That certain thing is acting as a deterrent. It is stopping the potential aggressor. It is dissuading the adversary from attacking our country. Right? So this is what the concept of deterrence means. हल्का सा आप इसको इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे इंट्रो में, that it deterrence aims to dissuade an adversary or a potential aggressor from attacking. Right? It is a strategy which is intended to dissuade an adversary from taking an action which has not yet started. So B can take an action against A, but the action has not yet started and B is already deterred to not take that action. It is dissuaded from taking action. right? So this is known as deterrence. It is the ability of a nation to convince a potential aggressor that the benefits of aggression will be outweighed by the loss, that the loss will be heavy. This you can mention in the introduction. This is how you have defined the concept, and now you can refer to certain statements by let's say Bernard Brody. He has given a statement where he says a credible nuclear deterrent must be always ready yet never used. So you can use this statement here, that a credible deterrent should always be ready. Every country should be in possession of a credible deterrent, but it should not be used, right? So there has been debate, why did India go for possession of nuclear weapons? Because we needed a deterrent. We are surrounded by hostile nations. We have China, we have Pakistan. So, and these are nuclear weapon states, right? Now we needed a deterrent. So our nuclear weapons, we had to possess them. They are also at times referred to as weapons of peace, because somehow they are assuring the peace of the world. In the Indian subcontinent, let's say there is peace because of nuclear deterrence. It is the school of thought believes that this peace is prevailing because of nuclear deterrence, because everybody is aware. Pakistan is aware India is in possession of nuclear weapons. India is aware Pakistan is in possession of nuclear weapons. China is aware India is in possession of nuclear weapons. So these are rational actors which take into cognizance that if any attack from their side takes place, the retaliation will be massive and a great amount of loss will be involved. So countries don't go for war, they don't go for this aggression, right? So Bernard Brody rightly says that a strong nuclear deterrent, sorry, not nuclear, a deterrent. He is just referring to deterrent in large. A deterrent should be ready, but it should not be used. Right. Similarly, we have Sun Tzu, and Sun Tzu is one of my personal favorite writers, and he is a military strategist. Military strategist from China. He was a military strategist from China, and his popular book is The Art of War. Here, it is a wonderful book. Here, he has given certain techniques or about four countries who want to go for a war. So, what kind of war should be waged? How wars should be won? All this is mentioned in this book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. So, Sun Tzu says, टू सबड्यू द एनिमी विदाउट फाइटिंग इज सुप्रीम एक्सीलेंस, कि आप लड़ाई करे बिना ही जीत जाएं अपने एनिमी से, विदाउट फाइट, विदाउट वेजिंग अ वॉर. If you can win, that is the biggest win. Because if you'll fight, if you'll go for a war, there will be a certain amount of loss involved at your end also. You will also go through loss. Your people will also die. Your economy will also suffer. Now, what is the benefit of such a win? The benefits of a victory are diluted when you see that you have also experienced great amount of loss despite winning. So Sun Tzu says that the best victory is to subdue the enemy without fighting. That is supreme excellence. Now here, deterrence is all about this. You are able to avoid the losses, right? You are able to subdue the enemy without fighting. You are keeping the enemy within his limits. You are keeping the aggressor, the potential aggressor, within his limits, and you are not allowing him to wage a war, and that too without fighting. You are not waging a war, you are not using anything. But so this entire concept of deterrence can be explained by this statement of Sun Tzu. So whenever a question of deterrence is there, do mention this statement by Sun Tzu. It is present in the PDF that will be given to you in the Telegram group. So highlight this, underline this, write this, keep a note of this, and do use this statement. Okay, so deterrence is used as a bargaining power. One country bargains peace from another adversary by saying that, see, we are in possession of these weapons, and hence it is better that we do not go for a war. So it is kind of a bargaining power. Okay, so we are showing our understanding about the word deterrence since it was the keyword, and the question basically is asking what do we understand by deterrence. right? And then deterrence is of two types. Now from here we are smoothly moving towards the main crux of the question. The main crux is, the main theme of the question is, what is the relevance of deterrence in the context of यूक्रेन रशिया वॉर, और क्या इस वॉर के बाद आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि डेटरेंस की थ्योरी फेल हो गई है, क्या ये अब भी रेलेवेंट है? तो वो स्मूथ ट्रांजिशन दिखाने के लिए हम इस पैराग्राफ का यूज करेंगे। ऊपर हमने पूरा डेटरेंस एक्सप्लेन किया, अब हम बताएंगे कि डेटरेंस दो टाइप का होता है, एक डायरेक्ट होता है, एक एक्सटेंडेड होता है। उसको इनडायरेक्ट भी बोलते हैं, बट मेजरली वी यूज द वर्ड एक्सटेंडेड। ए और बी दो कंट्रीज हैं, ए के पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स हैं, कोई भी वेपन्स है, बी के पास भी है, और वो दोनों एक दूसरे पर अटैक नहीं कर रहे हैं बिकॉज दे आर अवेयर दैट the other person, the other adversary is in possession of weapons, and some laws will incur at our end also. So here direct deterrence is playing a role. Then there is extended deterrence, which means there is the role of a superpower. Let's say B is a superpower, A and C are adversaries. A C is not having any weapons with itself, but it is under the umbrella, the deterrence umbrella of B. B is a superpower. It has promised C that we will protect you whenever your adversary, any adversary will attack you on your behalf. We will attack that adversary. So it is under the safety umbrella of B, which is a superpower. C itself is not a superpower, it is a normal country. It is the adversary of A, and A is in possession of some weapons, and A can any day attack C. And C is not in possession of any weapons. C will incur great loss. But then there is B protecting C. So B is the superpower and it is giving extended प्रोटेक्शन टू सी। तो इस कंसेप्ट को हम बोल देते हैं एक्सटेंडेड डेटरेंस। एक्सटेंडेड, इसका छोटा सा एग्जांपल, Japan is not having nuclear weapons of its own, but it is under the nuclear umbrella of USA. So here B is USA, C is Japan, and any day if any other superpower or any other power tries to attack Japan, Japan can go to USA. USA has promised a nuclear umbrella, a nuclear protection, a deterrence, a nuclear deterrence to Japan. So this is one such example. All right, now after smoothly showing this transition, this was a transition paragraph. ऊपर हमने deterrence को explain किया, अब हमने उसके types को बताया, और जब हमने इस extended deterrence की बात करी, तो now we can quickly move to this Ukraine-Russia scene. Here we see that people are saying that deterrence has failed. Why deterrence has failed? USA, the Western world, उसने खूब धमकियां दी रशिया को, फिर भी रशिया is carrying on the war against Ukraine. तो deterrence तो fail हो गया. By the deterrence theory, रशिया को रुक जाना चाहिए था. Russia was aware that the US and the Western powers will impose sanctions on it. So Russia should not have attacked Ukraine. The war should not have taken place. So people are saying, some political theorists are saying that deterrence as an idea has failed. But has it really failed? What has it lost its relevance? We'll examine. See, when the war began, Biden, US president, had said that USA will not intervene. Now Russia got an idea. Russia knew that USA is not going to directly intervene militarily from Ukraine on Ukraine's behalf. Ukraine had not joined NATO yet. Ukraine was in the process of joining NATO. So basically Ukraine has not got the NATO protection. USA was not going to intervene on behalf of Ukraine. So this is how there was no deterrence. Deterrence itself was absent. Right, the element of deterrence was absent. So why would Russia be afraid of imposing a war? Next, there is another thing, but then there were some military sanctions and UN sanctions against Russia. There is another thing, that is end goal. Sometimes for some countries, it is being said that this war, Russia-Ukraine war, for Russia is an existential war. It is a fight for its existence. It's a fight for its existence. It is a fight for maintaining its position of being a erstwhile superpower. Erstwhile superpower. It was a superpower in Cold War era. So when the end goal is such big, when the end goal goes beyond the calculations of loss and profit, so at that time nobody will look at deterrence. Right. Also, so this is the second point. First point is that Biden had said we will not intervene. Also, Ukraine had not joined NATO. So deterrence was kind of absent. Right. We can't say that deterrence theory has failed. Actually, deterrence was absent. USA was not, Russia was not deterred. It knew that USA is not going to intervene on behalf of Ukraine. It knew that Ukraine has not yet joined NATO, and once it joins NATO, then it will be very difficult to wage a war against Russia, against Ukraine. And second thing is end goal. So for here, Russia, the end goal is much bigger than the calculations of loss and profit. So we cannot say that deterrence as a theory has failed, but that there is absence of a significant deterrence. Right. And then there is also one another idea, that is rational actor model. जो इंसान ये समझ पाएगा कि मेरे पे मैं अटैक करूंगा तो मुझ पर भी अटैक हो जाएगा और मेरा लॉस होगा, जो इस चीज को समझेगा वही तो डेटर होगा. तो ये डेटरेंस की थ्योरी रैशनल एक्टर्स पर ही काम करती है. इरैशनल जो हो गया उस पर ये काम नहीं करेगी. जैसे आईएसआईएस हैं, टेररिस्ट ग्रुप्स हैं, दे आर नॉट कंसर्न्ड अबाउट देयर लॉस, and they don't have a country to lose, or they are not concerned whether they will stay alive or dead. They are just not concerned. They are concerned about waging a war. They are concerned about causing loss and harm to the adversary. So these are not rational actors. और सबसे बड़ा डर न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स के यही है कि इरैशनल एक्टर्स के हाथ में ना पहुंच जाए, जैसे आईएसआईएस. वहां पर ये पहुंच गए तो दे विल यूज इट because they don't have deterrence theory doesn't apply there. They are not afraid of any loss, right? So for deterrence theory to be relevant, it is important that there should be rational actors involved. Okay. And then in case of Russia and Ukraine, we have said that end goal also matters. Sometimes the end goal is such big from the perspective of a country that it won't go for the loss profit calculations at any condition. It won't serve victory for itself. As they say that this war is a existential war for Russia to maintain its erstwhile superpower status. राइट. सो क्वेश्चन में वो यही कह रहे थे कि हैज द deterrence theory lost its relevance? So no, we'll say the deterrence theory remains intact. It has its own value. It has not lost any relevance. It is just that in the Russia-Ukraine crisis, in the Russia-Ukraine war, a significant deterrence is missing. Right. So this is how we conclude this answer very systematically. First we defined what does deterrence mean. We show our understanding of deterrence. Then we arrived at the second part of the question and we understood कि भले ही क्वेश्चन एक ही दिख रहा है बट उसमें वो दो चीजें पूछना चाह रहा है. So this is how we have attempted this. आपने किस अप्रोच के साथ इन क्वेश्चंस को अटेम्प्ट किया उसको मैच करिए, कंपेयर करिए. कहीं पे कोई इम्प्रोवाइजेशन की जरूरत है तो वो इम्प्रोवाइजेशन करिए. और कमेंट सेक्शन इज ओपन फॉर यू. वी रीड योर कमेंट्स. Keep mentioning if there is some issue that you are facing, and keep telling us how your approach was. Your approach similar to what we have explained here, right? And keep practicing, keep writing. The more you write, the more strong you will be for your optional in upcoming mates. Stay tuned to Only IS. All the very best. Keep writing.